It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. As usual, I'm screwing up technical stuff. It's been one of those days. So, welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. What is today? Today's the 8th day of March 2022, and today is International Women's Day. Marking International Women's Day, Celebrity Cruises announced today that 1/3 of all its bridge officers are now female. Captain Kate and all of her crew, and then some. In an industry where less than 2% of the mariners are women, the milestone sets a new benchmark, the company said in a press statement. As a display of its commitment to equality, advancement, and the accomplishment of women, the brand is also changing its global X logo, on the ships, the big X, okay, to XX in honor of the female chromosome for the commemorative date. How about that? From Celebrity Cruises on International Women's Day. Only one ship sailing from North American ports today, folks. That's down in Miami. The Oceania Riviera gets underway. Headlines today, and this stuff has been breaking all morning. It keeps changing and changing and changing. Started off with little or nothing on the show today, and then it just kept adding and adding and adding. But today's headlines, of course, we're going to look at the Canadian cruise season that's finally going to resume, and we got the specifics on what was allowed the change to happen yesterday. The Viking Mississippi floated out. Oceania Regatta restarts. The CDC adds more to the level 4 list. Who cares? New routes for Breeze Airline. I know Tom's hot on that one. Updated Bermuda travel restrictions. That one came from Hot Air Tom as well. And a major change in the Norwegian Prima. All that live here at 11. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the majors: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, all the biggies. All you have to do is search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and you get the old fat travel guy. You might also, when I do post pictures or clips like I'm going to do here in just a second, you might want to jump over and check the video feed if you are listening to the podcast. There's always in the description of the podcast will be a link to the video side of things, so you can always check out clips or pictures from cruises. I'm getting ready to go on some cruises. We've had features from other of the family members of Chillie Cruises family when they're on cruises, and they send me pictures and we share those. So sometimes if you're just listening to the podcast, you might want to jump over just to check them out. Yesterday, I had a slight technical glitch and was not able to upload the flood, the Wonder of the Seas flood. Here's actually the clip.
It's raining in the ship, in the Wonder of the Seas. Sprinkler systems have went off. Promenade is soaked. Ship is taking on water. Look at the water. Oh my God. In the promenade. Wonder what happened.
Now, you know the scary thing to me looking at that? If you've ever been on a Royal Caribbean ship and you've ever been down on that promenade, think of all the electricity that's down there from all the lights and the signs and everything. And then now it's flooded. Wow. And the hats off to the crew. I mean, it wasn't anything major. They had it cleaned up within a couple hours and it was back open to the public. I mean, the Wonder of the Seas crew did a fantastic job, but that had to be scary as heck for folks that were on board that ship. Wow. All right, we'll be back to take a look at the news after a word from one of our network sponsors. And on with the news, folks. Transport Canada, Canada Border Service Agency, Public Health Agency of Canada, and port officials finally reached an agreement that opens up the country's cruise industry with guidelines that largely mirror those implemented internationally. All adult guests and crew must be fully vaccinated, though very limited exemptions are available for children under age 12. Medical conditions or religious beliefs will be allowed, however, in very small numbers. But it was enough to allow Canada to open for cruise ships, which allowed the U.S. to have the season, Alaska sailing season we were counting on. The previous lack of exemptions for kids had been a sticking point for cruise lines such as Carnival and the lines that they own. And this new update comes only about a month before the Alaska cruise sailing season is set to resume. Up until now, there had been much speculation about whether Canada health regulation would hinder the 2022 Alaska and the Canadian New England cruise seasons. The completion of this guidance will allow Alaska and Canada New England seasons to start as planned. Caribbean Princess will be the first ship to sail from Canada in over 2 years. It's scheduled to call in Victoria on April the 6th before transitioning to Vancouver. The Koningsdam returns to Victoria on April the 9th. The Zaandam to Halifax on May the 17th. With a full schedule of sailings on the calendar between April and November, the Canadian cruise season is back, which means the U.S. cruise season is back as well. So, good news for all those that were trying to con us into losing the season again. Viking's first purpose-built ship for the Mississippi River, the Viking Mississippi, has been floated out at the shipyard in Houma, Louisiana. The float out is an important construction milestone for any vessel as it marks the first time it touches the water. The event took place at Edison Couist offshore La Ship shipyard. In keeping with maritime tradition, the vessel's ceremonial godmother, Dione Couist, General Counsel of Edison Couist Offshore, assisted with the float out. A fourth ship returned to service for Oceania Cruises yesterday as the Regatta welcomed guests back for a 10-night South Pacific cruise. Sailing from the Tahitian port of Papeete, the French Polynesian itinerary features calls in 6 different destinations plus an overnight in Bora Bora. After a few additional voyages around the South Pacific, the Regatta is scheduled to reposition to the west coast of the U.S. in late April, where she will start a series of cruises on the California coast, Alaska, and the Mexican Riviera that stretches through September. So those of you that are big Oceania fans, you're going to have another ship here in the U.S. The CDC has added more destinations to the ever-growing list of level 4 warnings. Of course, that's the highest risk level for COVID. Last week, Vietnam was added to the level 4 risk list just weeks before the country reopens to foreign travelers, which will happen a week from today on March the 15th. And today, 3 more destinations were added: New Zealand, Thailand, and Hong Kong. Note, however, that mainland China still maintains a level 1. That's the low level for COVID status, despite Hong Kong's elevated warning. The CDC warning comes after New Zealand announced the removal of self-isolation requirements for visitors, as well as a reconnecting plan that will allow travelers from visa waiver countries, including the US and Canada, to start visiting in July. The CDC's level 4 classification specifies avoid travel to those destinations. If you must travel, make sure that you are fully vaccinated. Well, those of us in the cruise business are fully vaccinated, at least most of us. Breeze Airways, the nearly year-old startup by JetBlue founder David Neeleman, announced a major expansion on Tuesday featuring 10 new cities and 35 new routes. The expansion also sees the formal introduction of the airline's new Airbus A220-300 fleet, though the carrier plans an earlier soft launch of the plane with crew familiarization flights on existing routes. With the expansion, Breeze will fly 77 routes between 28 cities. The expansion marks Breeze's first steps over to the West Coast, with routes added from San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Bernardino in California, as well as Las Vegas. Breeze will be the only scheduled commercial airline operating out of San Bernardino. Additionally, the airline will add service to 6 more new markets on the eastern seaboard and the southeast. 3 of those markets are in Florida: Jacksonville, Fort Myers, and Sarasota Bradenton, actually. The other new cities are Nashville, Savannah, and Syracuse, New York. So Breeze goes to Richmond, so Hot Air Tom can now fly from Richmond to Jacksonville. That's a little closer to Port Canaveral. I think it's closer than Orlando. Not sure about that one. It's about the same, but gives you another option at least. Travel requirements for visitors arriving as cruise ship passengers in the Bermuda. And here are the new requirements. Cruise ship passengers age 2 and over require an approved travel authorization before the cruise ship departs from the home port terminal if Bermuda is the first port of call, or before arrival to Bermuda if Bermuda is not the first port of call. Children under 2 years old do not need to apply for travel authorization. All non-resident passengers ages 12 or older must be fully vaccinated to land in Bermuda. Unvaccinated children age 11 and under are welcome to enter Bermuda with a vaccinated parent or guardian. Those children will take on the vaccination status of the parent or guardian, travel with them, and will be allowed off the ship. Unvaccinated cruise ship passengers age 12 and up must remain on the ship. They will not be allowed off at Bermuda. All passengers must take a COVID-19 test before entering Bermuda and upload the negative results to their travel authorization application form. If Bermuda is the first port of call, fully vaccinated passengers may take either a COVID-19 PCR test no more than 4 days before embarkation, or a supervised antigen test more than 2 days before embarkation. Now, folks, the supervised antigen test, that's like the Abbott test that I do all the time, okay, where you have the proctor and they watch everything you do, and in 15 minutes, you've got the results, whether you're positive or negative. They send it to your phone so you can give it to them at the port. Same thing that Bermuda's requiring. Unvaccinated passengers must take a COVID-19 test taken no more than 4 days before embarkation. Supervised antigen tests are not accepted for unvaccinated passengers as a pre-travel test. They must also take a supervised antigen test at embarkation in the terminal or an embarkation on the cruise ship, and must quarantine in the cabin until the result is known. Passengers under 2 do not have to test to enter Bermuda. The requirements for valid pre-travel tests and details of the COVID tests accepted in Bermuda are outlined on the website. If Bermuda is not the first port of call on your cruise, or your cruise will take more than 4 days to arrive to Bermuda, all passengers, regardless of vaccination status, must undergo a further supervised antigen test on board by the ship's medical team no more than 2 days before passengers are to disembark in Bermuda. Wow. I was hoping they might have simplified it some, but they didn't. The fee was reduced from $75 to $40, thank goodness. And I thank you to Hot Air Tom for, I guess, garnishing that information from the Bermuda website. One of the world's biggest cruise line is about to do away with one of the great traditions of cruising, a main dining room where the menu changes every night. Yeah, that's what it says. Norwegian Cruise Line today, they're announcing that the main dining room included in the in-fare restaurant and soon to debut on the soon to debut Norwegian Prima will not offer 14-day rotation of changing menus, as is typical for main dining rooms on cruise ships. Instead, it will offer a fixed menu of dishes that stay the same each night. I have to think about that one. I mean, I'm a big main dining room guy. However, one of the things I like was having a change. If they have a static menu, if it's the good dishes, then it'll be okay. But then if you got some crappy dishes thrown in there that are going to be there every night, I don't know. I have to think about this one, folks. I have not come to a conclusion yet. You might want to give me your thought in the chat room. You like this or not like this? So basically, it's going to be similar to other specialty restaurants, only it's going to be part of the free package. Norwegian President and CEO Harry Sumner told a group of press that think of it not as a main dining room, but as the largest specialty dining room at sea. Yeah. He told them this in a little gathering in Venice, in an advancement of the announcement during an exclusive preview of menu items for the new restaurant and other eateries planned on the Prima. The preview took place in an art gallery in Venice in advance of an exclusive hard hat tour of the Prima at the nearby shipyard where it's under construction. Scheduled to debut in August, Norwegian Prima is being built at the Fincantieri shipyard in Marghera, Italy, which is just across from Venice on the mainland side of the Venice Lagoon. All right, guys, that's it for the news for today. Let's go see who's in the chat room fussing at me. Of course, Hot Air Tom is with us, and Hot Air Tom has helped me out with several things. He said, I will have a direct flight from Richmond to Jacksonville. I knew you'd like that one, among other great destinations. He was also looking at really a dirt cheap price to the West Coast, to San Francisco. I got to look at that one when I've got to go to Los Angeles and I've got to go to Seattle. But with the numbers, if I can get that cheap a flight, first class, it would be cheaper for me to get out there and then change plane, get a plane to Los Angeles from San Francisco or whatever, or to Seattle, get out there and then take shorter flights. We'll see. Pittsburgh Jason's with us. That's Jason 4112. He's up there in Pittsburgh. Says hello to Hot Air. Tom Gretchen's here. Hi, Gretchen. Out in Ohio. Carol's with us. Cindy's here. Hi, Cindy. Said good morning, gang. Did you pull the lever for the sprinkler system? Maybe a Pokemon did it. Yeah, I'm afraid that we can't blame Jason for that one, Hot Air. Now, we might blame Emily, because Emily could be running from the people trying to get her for stealing the walkie-talkies, and she pulled the plug to escape. Now, that's a possibility. Oh, speaking of Emily, there she is. Hi, Emily. Just talking about you. Oops, didn't like my response to Jason. What is wrong with the word ornery? Oh, ornery. Yes, that is. Hot Air says any walkies today. Boy, Emily, you get coming to both sides from you on the walkie-talkie things. We got sex bombed again. Voom today. Voom. Okay, oops, that's the wrong one. I was about, well, where is it going? That's okay. Got rid of the sex bomber. I was about to get rid of Gretchen because the chat jumped just as I clicked it. No, I realized I had it when my supervisor called me. I put it back. Supervisor's calling to say, quit taking my walkie-talkies home. He called me to verify when I had clocked out on a particular day. I'd say, you probably didn't. You took the walkie-talkie and walked out without clocking out. So he has no idea how long to pay you for. I understand. Breeze goes to both West Palm Beach and Jacksonville from Richmond. Not sure which is closer. Orlando is the closest. Okay, Orlando's closer than Jacksonville. All right. There's Nikki. Good morning, everyone. Soon y'all can fly to Jacksonville. We can cruise out. Well, yes. I'm planning on cruising out of Jacksonville, too, as soon as I get back from this raft of cruises, and then I get home after this month, and I go to Los Angeles for the Navigator of the Seas. Then I come back home for like a week, and then I go to Seattle to go to Alaska. And then when I come back home, I'm going to have some time in there that I don't have anything booked, and I'm going to start bottom feeding. I'm looking for cheapie. Even if it's a cheapie quickie that, okay, be here in 6 hours and get on the boat, kind of cheapie, to make up for some of the higher end cruises that I've booked. Chillie, you need to book a celebrity cruise. I know I do. I completely agree with that. And I'm trying to catch celebrity with a break for solos. I mean, I would love to get on a celebrity cruise. I'm just looking for, I'm being my cheap self, just like I was on the airplanes before I decided to not fly unless I could afford first class. So, yeah, I agree. I need to get on a celebrity cruise. And then, I'd be happy with one of the older celebrity ships too. I don't necessarily have to be on one of the new big ones. Jason says, I sailed on Carnival Lation out of Jacksonville a few years back. Jacksonville and Mobile both. Maybe I can do them back to back. Catch a Jacksonville and drive over to Mobile. It's not that far. And do another driving tour. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how this month goes and how much the old fat guy can stand being in a car now. The Breeze Airline says, flies out of Akron too. Count me in. It's nice. Hot Air says, I have tickets booked on Breeze for a May trip to New Orleans. We'll let you know how that goes. Hey, if it's an airplane and it flies, especially if it's first class, I don't think they have a business class. Do they, Hot Air? I think it's just first class and coach or economy or whatever they call it. MDR is overrated on Carnival. I don't know. I have never 90% over my cruising career, Jason, 90% of my dinners have been in main dining rooms. Once in a great while, I would go to the buffet. I mean, for years, I've refused to do specialty restaurants. I just wouldn't spend the extra money. Again, I was a cheap ass. You know what? Now, because of you guys, more than anything, so I've got some information. I'm booking some, specialty restaurant or two on every cruise. One of the other things that I have not doing, again, being a cheap, again, is booking ahead of time, booking excursions, especially accessible excursions. When I got off the interview yesterday with Kelly, she said, the biggest question that I get from people literally around the world is about accessible excursions on cruises. Accessible excursions when she's in a city. It doesn't necessarily have to be a cruise. She said, you need to really do more of that. I said, okay. So now that's one of the things, as soon as I get on board the ships, because I'm probably not going to have time this week because it's nutty, I'll go to the excursion office and say, okay, what do we got here? On Marviglia, all we're doing is Nassau and Ocean Cay. I never can remember. It's Royal Caribbean's Cay. And I think Ocean is Key. I don't know. Anyway, I need to do some accessible excursions for my accessible community as well. So Gretchen says, I only ate once in a main dining room on the last cruise. I was never unhappy. I was never unhappy with main dining rooms. I was not unhappy on these last three cruises in the main dining room. Matter of fact, I'm working on one of my short videos about the best meal I had on the Vina, which happened to be a lunch in a main dining room. And it was awesome. It was linguine with white clam sauce was the main course. And it's as good as I've ever eaten anywhere. And it was on the lunch menu. So I don't have problems at all with main dining rooms as a general rule. The other thing that I like about main dining room is the wait staff, male or female, tends to be much more attentive to you. And if there are problems, let's say you get something that's not as hot as you'd like it, they'll fix it quickly. They'll take it and get it done. So, yeah, I don't have problems with main dining rooms. Now, again, because of my community, I got to spend a little extra and do some specialties and go for it. So I can keep adding to my repertoire of specialty restaurants. Hot Air says I could eat pizza every night. But will they have that item? Oh, you can rest assured on Norwegian they're going to have pizza. I got to. They might not have pizza in the main dining room, but there'll be pizza on board. Breeze also flies into Tampa. Join me on my November 2022 Paradise Cruise. November 2022. What do I have booked for November 2022? I can't remember, Sin. Let me see. What do I have booked? Let me flash over here to my calendar and check down to November. Seems that I don't have anything in November. I've got October 4th on Serenade out of Tampa, or October 25th, rather. And then I don't do anything until December 11th, although there's a possibility of December 4th, because Cruises for Solo is looking at doing a Norwegian Epic group cruise on December 4th, which I would then side to side off of Epic onto Seascape for the inaugural. But I don't have anything in November. Let me make a note of that. Hey, send me the dates that you're on Paradise. I would love to do a cruise with you as well, and I'm making a note of that. Cindy, Paradise, November. Okay. Emily says she likes pizza as well, as long as you have a walkie-talkie that you can talk into while you're eating your pizza. Hot Air Tom says I could have steak and potato frequently too. Probably the worst meal historically, the worst meal I have in main dining rooms are strip steaks. And it's not the fault of the main dining room. It's the fault of the cut of steak. You get the same cut at home. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to have some gristle and some, it's just not the most lean cut of meat. When you get into the middle of a strip steak, then it's really good. But you have to get to the middle of it, and you have to be willing to, get rid of some of it that's going to be awfully chewy and not so good. But that comes with the cut. They're not going to have a ribeye in the main dining room. They're not going to have a filet in the main dining room. I've become, as I've gotten older, and I'm a big steak guy, believe it or not, I go with this with a filet. Ribeyes that I've eaten all my life, I can't eat that much anymore. I don't want to get miserable after a good meal. I want to enjoy a good meal. Cindy says, don't like that change. I want changes each night. That's what my original thought. And I'll have to see a menu. If they have enough selection on the menu, okay. But if it's going to be a short menu like they have each night, and that's going to stay the same, yeah, no, I'm not going to like that at all. Katie's with us. Hi, Katie. Hot Air has Jay booked out of Tampa in 2024. Jason says, Cindy, when's your next cruise? I might book a cruise in July. I have some time off. Nice. What date? Love the Jade. Cindy says, Michael's with us. Hi, Michael. Good to see you again. Hot Air Tom, where's it going from from, Tom? He says it may be my fault running away with the walkie-talkies. Yeah, Emily, you got to quit doing that, dude. Yeah, you're going to get your butt in trouble. Jason says, weren't you going to Europe before that pandemic, Chillie Cruises? Oh, yeah, I was supposed to be in Europe in October. Now I'm going to Europe in May of 23 for the group cruise with Cruises for Solo. I have not, the one thing I decided that I just absolutely couldn't afford to do was do the transatlantic and the 7th day before the group cruise. It was just ridiculously expensive. Now, if the price comes down, I might, even if I still have open in my schedule, I might last minute that thing. But it was just, it would have cost me enough money to do that before the group cruise that I would spend in almost a whole year of cruising. So no, not going to throw it all away in one shot. Not now. So next cruise is April 26th on the Breakaway, then May 23rd back to back on Carnival Conquest, both out of Miami. Jason says, tell the sex bomber to subscribe. Oh, I thought, well, wait a minute. I thought you, oh, so you're not doing Paradise. What did you say back up here, Cindy? I thought you said you had Paradise booked. Where'd I go? Don't like the change. Breeze flies into Tampa. Join me on my, November. Yeah, I'm sorry. November Paradise Cruise. That's what I want to know. I want to know about the November Paradise Cruise. Oh, I see you were asking Jason, answering Jason's. My bad. Yeah, you were answering Jason, not me. Okay. Gretchen, the sex bomber. No, that wasn't Gretchen. Oh, because Gretchen, I was going to delete Gretchen by mistake. Yeah, no. I would never do that to Gretchen. Obviously, NCL are hoping more passengers eat at specialty restaurants and spending more money. Well, that's certainly what it looks like. And again, I'm not gonna absolutely say that I hate this idea until I see a sample menu. But I'll tell you right off the top of my head, I hate this idea. But we'll see. I got several Norwegian ships booked. So if it's going to spread to other ships, we'll see how that goes. Cindy, Chillie was supposed to be on the Epic with me from Rome in 2020. That's how I met him. Yep. I rescheduled 9/20/22. Yeah, that one I could not do because I've got the group in May, and I couldn't see double dipping to Europe or trying to stay that long in Europe. Hot Air says Jade cruise February 25th, 2024, birthday cruise for Cindy. Ports Key West, Grand Turk, Puerto Plata, St. Thomas, Antigua, Barbados, Grenada, Curacao, Aruba. Wow, Grand Cayman, 14-day cruise. That's an awesomely nice cruise, Hot Air. On the Jade, too. That's February 25th. I have to go back and look at my schedule again here, Hot Air. February 25th. Yeah, I just have the Bloggers Cruise January 29th. So I'll be back from that on the 7th or 8th or something of February. That's another interesting one, Hot Air. I'll make a note of that too. You're making all kinds of notes today, folks. That's the Jade in 2/24. Cindy's birthday cruise. I love that itinerary. I love, I would like to do, I'd like to do a nice Southern Caribbean cruise because I have not been on one of those for a number of years now. But yeah, that would be awesome. So Jason says it'll be Rome in October. Cindy, just miss you again. Go on a cruise with John. He loves you. well, yeah. John was going to be on a trip back to Europe here coming up soon, but with all the turmoil in Europe right now, they canceled that whole thing out. So his next trip is now on the shelf. So Gretchen says, I'm in Rome in June. Cindy says, that sounds awesome, but I have a celebrity cruise scheduled in. Will be my first one. Jason in a toga. Oh, yeah, Jason in a toga. That would be pretty cool. We could get him. We could get him in a toga and send him to some of the ruins. He'd look like a Greek. No, it should be a Roman god. I'm actually booking my hotels in Italy through Celebrity. There's some amazing deals. I did when I was gonna go to back in last October on the European trip. I booked a bunch of stuff through Norwegian too, and they were fantastic. Jason says, don't worry about money. You can't take it with you. Yeah, but I got this. My son's bigger than I am, and he keeps threatening he's going to come shoot me if I quit spending his inheritance. So, no, I'm just, again, it's hard. It's somebody, Jason, at my age, when you've been a cheap all your life, it's hard to get past that. And yeah, I struggle with that sometimes. I still think like a cheap. You notice that I'm mouthing a word and not saying it out loud because I don't want to get dinged again from YouTube or Facebook, get thrown in Facebook jail. So, but yeah, when you've been a tightwad, there you go. That's a better way of saying it. You've been a tightwad all your life, and all of a sudden now you don't have to be a tightwad. It's hard to break those old molds. It really is. Roger just booked an intercontinental in Rome. The refurbishing should be finished by the time we get there. Very nice. Jason says, I'm a newbie on Celebrity. I mean, you guys all know that I follow JJ Crew a lot. I find those two guys to be just so delightful. I enjoy them a bunch. I actually become pretty good friends with them, and Jordan has done some work for me. So, but they're big, real big on Royal Caribbean and extension Celebrity. I've chatted several times with Captain Kate. Every time I chat with her, I try to get her to come on the show, and it's just getting somebody of her stature to come on a show for somebody as small as I am. It's tough to do. But anyway, I keep asking. One of these days, Captain Kate's going to be on this show. I have enjoyed my dealings with her. I was at one time was hoping to go over there on her inaugural, but that, again, the money didn't work out. Yeah, the money would have worked out, but I didn't want to spend that much money on that particular cruise because I could do a lot more with it if I didn't spend it all in one place. That's what I'm trying to do. If Hot Air Tom wants a pizza in the main dining room, they'll make him one. You know, that's what I've never done. I've never asked about a pizza in the main dining room because I go in there, I'm thinking a dinner. Pizza's, I don't think of pizza as dinner. Yeah, I know. You can eat pizza anytime. Pizza's a snack for me. If I'm hungry at 9 o'clock at night, I'm able to pop up to the all night pizza joint and get a slice or two. That's when I eat pizza. Maybe occasionally at lunch, but I'm not a pizza dinner kind of guy. I do all kinds of other pasta and Italian food. That's one thing. I mean, I love pizza. Goodness gracious. Maybe that's it. They keep telling me that I need to do polls. Maybe we'll do a poll on pizza one day. What do you put on pizza? Or should you put pineapple on pizza? I don't put pineapple on pizza. But yeah, I like pizza. But no, I've never had pizza in a main dining room. We booked on Celebrity Constellation out of Tampa in 2023. Celebrity Constellation, that's one of their older ships, not real old, but it's one of their older ships, smaller ships. Well, of course, sailing out of Tampa, it has to be small because it's got to go under that bridge. The bigger ships wouldn't fit under that bridge. Just sail into Europe and start cruising back to backs later this year. Yeah, well, what I found in looking, really researching a lot of this, Jason, the European cruise market, they do more for content creators over there as far as putting them on free cruises or extremely cheap cruises, even if they're just like 2-dayers and they get all the media people on at once. They do a whole lot more than that than we do in the States. On the same token, we do a lot better in the States price-wise on cruises than they do price-wise in Europe, if you compare apples to apples. Now, yeah, we've got to also have the flight thing. The other thing that Europe has got some terrific deals over there with flights included. Well, that doesn't mean flights for U.S. folks. But if you can come up with a deal with a flight included from the U.S. to a cruise in Europe, that would be the ultimate, because the cruise line's pricing on flights has been unbelievable. So much better than I could do on my own when I've looked at it. There's Nanook of the North John. He's 100% New York Prime. New York Prime fingers aren't working yet. Yeah, well, they're probably still frozen. Cindy Lee, I'm an IHG point booker too. I buy points with their BOGO deals. Filet mostly, prime rib occasionally. Well, I like a good prime rib, but I am just sold on fillets. That's just the right amount for me. If I'm really hungry, I'll get, there's usually a small fillet and a large fillet. If I'm real hungry, I'll get a large fillet, but that's still small enough. But most of the time, I'll just get a small fillet. And last time I went to the butcher's cut, I had a small fillet, and that was absolutely perfect for me. So I'll do the butcher's cut again on Meraviglia. Because they also have Oysters Rockefeller that I did not know about. I didn't see that before, and I want to try that with the steak. So I'm hoping to be able to do it, Meraviglia butcher's cut again. I really enjoy the butcher's cut. That filet is just wow, it's such a good steak. Emily says, have to get going, take the dog out, grand breakfast, and get ready for work. Love the Intercontinental in Miami and Boston. We have a Kempton booked in Seattle for October 23 Encore cruise. We'll book Intercontinental in Athens when the date opens. Emily says walkies are very helpful. Everybody's saying bye to M. 11:05 to 11:10 Carnival Paradise. Thank you, Sin. 11:5. Okay. I have a note of that one. Do you like the constellation, Nikki? I'm on her October 6th out of Ravenna, Italy. Everything I've seen about the constellation is, yes, it's a really nice ship. It's not the newest. It's not the biggest. It's not the most glamorous, but it's a solid, still, everything Celebrity does is top notch. I don't know what Nikki said, but yeah. Katie says MDR on Royal is usually excellent. I agree. I didn't mind main dining rooms on Carnivals all those years. You know, I would go my next Carnival cruise. I'll go right back to the main dining room like I always have. Jason says I paid for Aqua Class with a Black Friday deal. It wasn't that bad. Nice. Cindy says I always buy the BOGO points too. If you're interested in the Jade Cruise, Chillie, let me know. It might be cheaper to work out a 2-bedroom suite rather than you deal with the single issue. Okay. That one is February 24, and I have February of 2024. Work it out. See what they do. Yeah, that would be cool. You'll know by the time we cruise this summer if you're going to hate being on a cruise ship with me. So it'll be time that you can kick me out of your suite. Now that would be awesome. Gretchen says cauliflower crust. Nikki says we love the Blue restaurant. One of the things I've heard about is Blue. Never been to one. That would be something that I'd love to do. Nikki says I love Emma's frugality. We often cruise as transportation, not vacation, and have booked inside cabins. For example, transatlantic instead of flying. Cheaper than flying, more comfy too. That's what I thought until I priced the Epic. No, I priced, it wasn't the Epic. It was the Royal Caribbean's for the group, before the group cruise, the transatlantic out of Tampa. And it was, I thought it was just ridiculously expensive. That's Brilliance of the Seas. I couldn't think. I got so many ships running through my head. Brilliance of the Seas, it was just, I thought was awful. I used to like Emma, but she's too big now. She had 100,000 people. Boy, would I like to have some of them. Yeah. We all dream. Jason says Carnival Paradise is a nice ship. Nikki says we're booked on Prima in 2023. Michael says I'm an NCL May to Alaska, Panama, LAX to Miami in December. I'm Royal in Alaska this time. I'm on Quantum of the Seas. I'm on Quantum of the Seas because they had a deal for solos. This is the sole reason. I got a little bit knocked off from the 100% solo add-on. That's why I booked on Quantum. And other Alaska cruises didn't give me anything. So we booked an RC transatlantic in November for $439 per person. Wow. Now see, that's what I was looking for. I would have jumped all of, $439. I would, even if it was a $439 at 50% add-on, so I was $650 or somewhere along in there, I would have jumped all over that. But this was up in the $1,500-$1,600 range, and and then a $1,100 or $1,200 for a 7-day or before the group cruise. So I was looking, at $5,000 before the group cruise. So Kenneth's with us up in Pennsylvania. Says, "Good morning, everybody. Still getting used to the time change. Yeah, you got to get back in the swing of things, Kenneth." Well, that's going to wrap me up for today. Goodness, I've used up almost a whole hour for a change. Had a couple of shorter shows lately. Not out of any reason. It's just that, they ended quicker. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap me up. If you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. As you've seen, we carry on constant conversations over in the chat room after I get done with the news for the day. And we seriously try to work deals out where we can get together on cruises. So it's part of the Chillie Cruises family. Everybody's a member of it just by being with us, and we see what we can do. So I will work on these couple things that I'm working on, and hot air time, you go ahead and see what you can do on a 2-bedroom suite deal. You got more pull with them than I do. And I'll see everybody same time, same place tomorrow, as I'll be one day closer to leaving on Friday and heading down south. Get out of here just as it's getting cold again. All right, that's going to wrap me up for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all be on the high seas together. You guys have a fabulous day. I'll see you tomorrow. This is the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillies Cruises.